I'm Louie, and I like to make things. Today, I'm making soap. I make a lot of handcrafted soap, and there are two different types of handcrafted, all-natural soap making processes. One is called a cold process soap, and another is melt and pour soap. And the cold process requires sort of some chemical reactions with lye and oils, but it does allow you to make a lot of intricate designs when you're handcrafting. But the melt and press is a quicker and easier one. So I'm showing you that because it's a lot easier to show you. Anyways, here we go. So my most popular soap that I make is what we're doing today, and that is the Fight Club soap. Everybody loves the Fight Club soap. All ages, genders, everyone. It's very popular, just like the movie. I like it a lot. And yeah, so that's what we're doing. With melt and pour, you purchase the soap base pre-made, and there's a lot of different soap bases. There's just a plain glycerin soap. It's made with vegetable glycerin, and it's got none of these have any additives, I guess, but just basic soap. And you can get a white glycerin or a clear glycerin, depending on what kind of designs you want to do. So for what we're doing today, I'm starting with a white soap base because we want an opaque soap. So the reason why I'm holding this is because the soap base comes in different weights. This is 1 pound here, and then they also come in 5 pound and 10 pound. And so I typically buy the ones that I use the most, which is the glycerin, the clear glycerin, the white glycerin, the triple butter, the shea butter, the aloe, and the honey in 10 pound blocks. And then I cut those blocks using one of these soap cutters, usually this one, and put them into cubes, and then put them in Ziploc bags so they're a little bit easier for me to access. When you are making your soap, you are going to have to cube it anyways. It needs to be cubed or broken into small pieces so you can heat it up. There are different pitchers that you can use to heat it. I have found that glass measuring cups like this work best for me because I buy like multiple ones so I can pour different colors and things like that. They're easier to store. I can nest them, and the glass holds the heat longer, which helps especially when you're pouring multiple layers and colors. With the Fight Club soap, we're just going to do the one color, so that makes it a little bit easier. So to color your soaps, you can get the pre-colored soap base blocks, which is nice. This one I've already cut into it. It's normally a square shape, but I like to do this for sort of quick soap making. But you can also utilize mica powder. So for our Fight Club soap, you need a hot pink color, or this is called electric bubblegum, which is essentially hot pink. Then you'll need an alcohol spray bottle. This particular one is 91% isopropyl alcohol. Any spray bottle with alcohol works. I usually just buy it the one time and then refill the bottle with from the bigger bottle. Anyways, and then when you first switch from store-bought soap to natural soaps, sometimes you'll notice that it's not as sudsy as what you're used to because it doesn't have any of the extra chemicals in there. We're just keeping it basic. But if you want a little bit more suds, this is sort of how I transitioned my husband over from store-bought soaps, because initially he didn't like the all-natural soaps weren't sudsy enough for him. But I added a little bit of pure Castile soap into it, which is also, again, all natural oils and glycerin and stuff like that, just to make it a little bit more sudsy. I just squirted a little bit in there, not too much. And that appeased him initially, and then I just sort of tapered it out. And now it's not, I don't use any of it, and he doesn't even notice the difference. He's used to the sudsing, because it does sud. It's just not as sudsy as store-bought. Okay, so for the fragrance I'm using is today, and that it's my go-to fragrance for my Fight Club soap. I do have a few other fragrances that I use for it, but this is definitely my go-to. It's called Galactic Skies by Brambleberry, and it's just a mix of a number of scents. It's got citrus, it's got musk, it's got floral. It just has just a really clean scent. Again, that is favored by all ages and all genders. So I can never go wrong with Galactic Skies. So that's in the Fight Club soap. And of course, most people, they won't even use it. They like it just for the look. They just put it out for decoration. But anyways, so that I think is the supplies. And of course, the most important thing is my silicone Fight Club mold. So I just use this mold. It's just a single mold, so I can only do 1 bar of soap at a time. I do have other molds for other types of soaps that have multiple cavities of the same mold, so I can kick out more soaps at a time. But for the Fight Club, I just can do 1 at a time. But the great thing about melt and pour soap is that it's a pretty quick make. You can make it pretty quickly, and they cure relatively quickly too. So you can still make multiple single bar soaps like this in a day. You know, you might not do it all at once, but you can do it over a period of a few hours. Okay, so other things I have is my pipette, and whenever you use the mica, you want to mix it with a liquid first that you can add to the soap base and color it that way. And that liquid would be alcohol. So you just put some of the isopropyl alcohol in a cup with some mica, stir it up real good, and then you can pour that into the soap base whenever you're ready to add color. And you'll see that when we do this particular one. So this bar of soap is 5 ounces. And you need just as much soap base for the size of the bar of soap that you're making. So you don't need more or less per se. In fact, 5 ounces is just, this is a little less than 5 ounces. So I'll have like a little bit extra left over, but I'd rather have a little bit more than not enough, because I can always reuse it. So the next time I want to make a Fight Club soap, I can take the one from the previous one, or the excess from the previous one that I've stored in a Ziploc bag or something like that, and use that. So, okay, so we have our measuring scale. You also want your temperature thermometer. This is like a laser thermometer, an infrared thermometer. So that way when you pour your soap, it's not too hot. Okay, so you put it on your scale for ounces. I'm going to tar the scale so it doesn't measure the cup, and then I'm going to add my bases. So for the Fight Club, like I said, I like the white glycerin base. I also put in a little triple butter, which has like shea butter, mango seed butter, and one other butter that is, coconut oil. Yeah. Anyways, cocoa butter, shea butter, and mango seed butter. So we'll put some of that in. And then I always like to add aloe. So I have an aloe soap base, and the aloe is great for any kind of, it's just any kind of skin irritations or stuff like that. It's very soothing. It's very healing. It's healing for dry skin. There's just numerous, I guess, benefits to aloe and aloe in your soap. So I put a little bit of aloe in, and let's see, I'm at 3.9. And then honey, I will put honey soap base in, and the honey is great for antibacterial purposes. So we'll throw some of that in, and we're at 4.4. So I want to get just a little bit more. Again, I want to make sure it stays opaque. Okay, this is like, usually goes straight to 5. Now it's making me look kind of silly because it knows. All right, we're at 5 ounces. Perfect. So I have 5 ounces in my jar, and now I'm going to go take it to the microwave and heat it up in 30-second spurts. So I will, I don't have my spoon here. I think I have the spoon in the kitchen. But anyways, I will heat this up for 30 seconds, then take it out, stir it, and then put it back in for another 30 seconds and then stir it. And I don't just put it back in right away, because as you're stirring it, it's still melting. And so I'll do that until I have like a nice, melted base with no lumps. You don't want to get it too hot. If you overheat your wax, nope, it's not wax, it's soap. Sorry, I make candles too. But if you overheat your soap base, then it's going to cause your bar of soap to crystallize later. So little crystals will start to sort of form on top of the soap. And if you have it stored, even if it's sealed, and if it's not being used and it's being stored or is out on display or something like that, you'll have these crystals. And so if you do have that happen, then you know it's because you overheated your soap. So you never want to overheat it. If most of the lumps are gone, but it's just a little bit of lump, I would not put it in for a full 30 seconds. I would drop it down, just depending on how hot it is. And try to either, let it melt from stirring, or drop it down to maybe 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15, just sort of getting a feel based on how lumpy it is or is not. You can also monitor the temperature with your infrared thermometer as well. It will get, say like around 165. I mean, I'll tell you when I get back. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and my wax is at 160. Oh, I said wax again. Okay. Soap, it's the soap. My soap base is at 160. So now I'm going to add my colorant. So I've pre-cut some pieces, and I just sort of stir them in there, and they melt right away and start to color. You can see the color changing. Now, just so you know, can see, I went ahead and put some mica in this cup, just the powder. And then I'm going to spray in some of the alcohol and stir it up. And then I'm going to add that into the base as well for color. Now, when you, I like that color. So when you do this, you don't have to do both. It's an either or. I'm just doing it just to show you. I do note, or I did recall, that I like the color better when I use the mica powder. I think I get a much bolder color than with the block, or at least I have to use much more block to get the same results. So that's stirred up. So now we want to add the fragrance. So for this size bar of soap, the 5 ounces roughly, I want 3 milliliters of fragrance, which is how much this pipette holds. Typically you want about 0.3 ounces per pound, or 16 ounces of soap base. But we're not using that much soap base. This smells amazing. So now I have my fragrance in there. And I'm going to check my temperature. And it says 137, which is good actually. Anywhere from 130 to 140 is good for pouring. You don't want it to get too cool, because then it'll get lumpy and it won't pour, or it'll already start to set. But you don't want it too hot either. So pouring it in. And it's already getting pretty thick. It's starting to cool. And then there will be bubbles on top. So you take your alcohol and you just spray the top, to remove the bubbles. This one is a persistent bubble here. It's not going. I think that's a clump of color. Actually, I didn't mix my color well because I was in a hurry. So anyways, that's it. That's the soap. You let it sit for a few hours to cure, and then you can remove it from the mold. Because I just have the one mold, I can't show you how to unmold that one. So I had poured some extra in this mermaid tail mold earlier to show you. So I just separate the edges first, just kind of pull them away from the soap gently, and then just pop it out, push it from underneath, and it just sort of pops out. And there you have it, unmolded. And then you can smooth out the edges. It's still soft, so you can just kind of smooth them out with your finger if there's any like rough edges from the top from maybe an overpour, which is what I did with this one. But yeah, nice and smooth. And it's that simple. Melt and pour is very easy, and there's a lot of fun things you can do with it. You can't do everything you can do there's a lot of things you can do with cold press that you cannot do with the melt and pour. So cold press definitely has its advantages, but the advantage to the melt and pour is that it's quick and easy and relatively inexpensive. And once you start using it, you're gonna really, I mean, personally, and for what the feedback that I've gotten from my friends and family and other people that utilize the soaps that I make is that it really balances your body's pH and gets rid of, it moisturizes. There's no drying where you might have been experiencing over drying before, but at the same time, it doesn't create an oiliness or anything like that. I mean, it just really improves your skin's health. So I definitely recommend trying it out. This video is already way too long, but if you've watched my recent video, you've noticed that, or my celebration video, that I hit over 1,000 followers on TikTok recently. And I want to thank everybody for supporting me, not just on TikTok, but on all the platforms. After that video came out, I had a spike in Instagram and YouTube as well. Facebook is still hanging strong at 82. It hasn't budged. But again, I couldn't have gotten these numbers without your support, and I really appreciate it. And the more followers I receive, the more things I'm able to do with the individual platforms to be even more available to people. So it really starts with you supporting me and liking the videos, sharing the videos, reposting the videos, subscribing and following on all platforms. But again, I just want to thank everyone for everything that you've done. This is something I did not want to do at all. I was encouraged to do it by my friends, and it seems to be going pretty well. So I appreciate it. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.